Okay, let's jump right into today's explainer, where we are tackling a massive question. How exactly do we survive and even thrive in the AI era? We're diving into author Choi Won-yuk's visionary framework, and spoiler alert, the answer isn't writing better code. It's actually rooted in ancient Eastern philosophy. We're going to see how merging these deep historical frameworks with our modern tech landscape gives us a totally unique survival strategy. Now, right out of the gate, the source text hits us with this deeply hopeful premise. There's an old Eastern proverb: even if the sky falls, there is a hole to escape. And what's brilliant is how the author links this straight to Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Basically, just as Gödel proved mathematically that no logical system, not even the most advanced AI, is completely flawless or complete, human ingenuity? It always finds a way out. We have the answers. We just need to know where to look. So here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're hitting the AI era crisis, the limits of analytical thinking, the 4 correlative thinking modes, Huazheng harmonization, and finally, the symbiotic connective economy. Let's get to it.
Starting with Part 1, the AI era crisis, specifically layoffs and global conflict. The text lays out 2 incredibly urgent, interconnected threats. First up are the internal threats. We're talking mass AI-induced layoffs. And the author argues these aren't just your standard market corrections. They're often caused by flawed, partial decision-making, where AI prioritizes raw, immediate efficiency over human stability. Then, you have the external threats. The text points to extreme geopolitical tensions, impartially citing the US-Iran conflict as a stark example of how modern AI can take theoretical war scenarios and dangerously maximize them in the real world. Basically, AI acts like a giant amplifier for crises that already exist. Which brings us to Part 2, the limits of analytical thinking, or rather, the problem with AI's logic. Why does AI actually make these flawed decisions? Well, the core difference boils down to how information gets processed. Machine intelligence relies heavily on analytical thinking, right? It breaks things down, prioritizing the parts over the whole. But the text argues this leads to massive cognitive blind spots, like confirmation bias. It literally misses the forest for the trees. Human correlative thinking, on the other hand, is our evolutionary secret weapon. It flips the script, prioritizing the whole before the parts, which lets us synthesize information in ways a localized algorithm just can't pull off. To really visualize this, think about the author's mountain metaphor. Imagine you're standing deep inside a dense forest right at the bottom of a mountain. All you see is bark, leaves, maybe the rock right in front of you. That is analytical part first thinking. But if you suddenly transport yourself all the way to the mountaintop and look down, boom, you see the entire landscape, the rivers, the valleys, the whole interconnected ecosystem that was completely invisible from down in the trees. Correlative thinking is that mountaintop view. Part 3, the 4 correlative thinking modes. This is where we look at the human advantage. So how do we actively get to that mountaintop? The text gives us a toolkit of 4 specific modes. First up is IPCHE. Think of this as stereoscopic, or 3D thinking. Instead of looking at a problem like it's a flat image on a screen, IPCHE lets us walk completely around it. We see the depth, the shadows, the multiple dimensions. It's transcending that single flat data point. Next is Sunhuan, which means cyclical thinking. You know how AI often projects in a straight line? Like, it assumes if a metric is going up, it's just going to go up forever until something breaks. Well, Sunhuan recognizes that nature and human economies actually operate in cycles, seasons, and feedback loops. It naturally stops us from falling into the trap of linear extremes. Number 3 is Gonggam, and honestly, this one is massive. Gonggam is empathy. It's that uniquely human capacity to literally feel and share the emotional state of a whole community. It's a crucial, absolutely crucial correlative tool that artificial intelligence fundamentally does not have. A spreadsheet of data cannot feel the human cost of a layoff. Gonggam can. And finally, we have Junghop, or convergence. This is where you blend radically different ideas or entire fields together to create a unified whole. So the crucial point here is that when you combine 3D perspective, cyclical awareness, deep empathy, and convergence, you get this incredibly robust cognitive toolkit that machines just can't replicate. All right, Part 4, Huazheng, harmonizing community disputes, moving from personal thought to global action. While those 4 thinking modes are great for you as an individual, Huazheng is how we actually scale correlative thinking up to our communities.
Huajing is originally a Buddhist practice focused on harmonizing disputes. But we're not just talking about politely agreeing to disagree here. It has evolved into a highly sophisticated framework designed to solve massive, complex societal and economic clashes between different groups, classes, and even nations.
It is genuinely fascinating to trace this history. In early Buddhism, it mainly dealt with basic two-term binaries, things like birth versus death. Then, by the Middle Era, it had expanded to handle three-term relations. Fast forward to today, and Huajing is morphed into this robust four-term framework. It is perfectly positioned to untangle the insanely dense geopolitical clashes we see in the modern world.
Which leads us right to our final section, Part 5, the symbiotic connective economy. This is where we apply ancient wisdom to modern markets.
Let's see how this actually builds out a completely new model based on the source text. Step 1 is simply identifying the four major clashing economic theories of our time. Step 2, you apply the ancient Korean philosopher Wonhyo's specific four-gate or Samun, Huajing structure to harmonize those clashes. And that leads to Step 3, the establishment of what the author calls a symbiotic connective economy. So instead of a zero-sum game where one side wins and the other gets optimized out of a job by an algorithm, this model is built fundamentally on connection and mutual survival.
So, bringing it all together, the core takeaway from this explainer is this. Humanity's survival in the AI era doesn't mean just trying to compete with machines on their own terms. Actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. It requires us to lean hard into what makes us uniquely human. We have to step back, see the big picture using correlative thinking, and then come together to structurally harmonize our differences using the wisdom of Huajing. It's this incredible fusion of ancient Eastern philosophy and future tech survival. And I want to leave you with this thought as we wrap things up today. If AI optimizes for the parts, how can you apply whole first correlative thinking to bring a little more harmony to your own workplace or community? Where could you inject some of that 3D thinking or deep empathy into your daily routine? It's definitely something to chew on. Thanks so much for diving into this explainer with me, and I will catch you next time.